Hi guys, in today's feature of the month video, we will take a look at a very useful feature that will help you if you want to export lists and columns that has special symbols in their names using SQL List Manager. So basically, by default, when you export lists and columns using SQL List Manager, it will use the internal names of lists and fields in order to generate columns and tables in SQL Server. Um, if you have special characters in any of the column fields, then as we know that those column fields gets replaced with a hexacode, which is not ideal if you want to retain the display names or the names with special characters when SQL generate tables and columns in SQL Server. Now there is a global setting available in SQL List that will allow you to use display names instead of internal names for generating those SQL columns and tables. And let's see how it works. Now let's open up a list that has special characters in their column. So I've created a list for that. And if I go there, you can see that there are several columns in this list that is using special characters in their names. And if I go to settings and look at the name for one of the columns, so if I go here, go to one of the names, let's say this one, which has percentage in its display name. But if I look at the internal name, that one is replaced with hexacode. Now, if we use internal names in SQL List Manager, it will either truncate the percentage sign when it generates the SQL column in the table, which we'll just look at now. So here in SQL List Manager, let's use the default functionality first, and let's create a new replication. I'm going to use the same SharePoint connection for this one. And now let's select the list, which has special character symbols in their column names. And now if I scroll down, I can see this is the list that I want to use for this. And I'm going to use the same connection for SQL Server as well. Let's call it special characters test. And let's finish it. All right, so this will run this replication. And if we go to the SQL Server, and so this is the database which is being used for this demo. And if I refresh it, and the table is generated. So let's have a look at the columns. As you can see here that either the special characters has been truncated, so we don't have job percentage completed, we just have job completed, or another one where the field name is replaced with the hexacode. And that's basically, these are a couple of issues that happens when you are using special symbols in your column names. Now, how to deal with that? So if I go back to SQList here, in global settings, if you look here in advanced export settings, there is a setting for using display name for column naming instead of internal names. And even if you are using non-Latin characters in column names, then this feature will also be useful for generating similar column names in SQL Server. So when I enable this feature, this will allow SQL List Manager to generate SQL columns based on display name instead of internal name. Back to my replication again. Let's edit it. It's just going to rerun this replication. So if I just select the same list, which is selected by default, and if I finish it, that should rerun the replication. And if I go back to my SQL Server now, it should delete this table and regenerate it with all the columns generated using special symbols in their column names. Now let's refresh it one more time. All right, so now if I look at the columns, you can see that the columns are generated based on the display name, and they have the special symbols in them as well. So if I compare them with my list settings and the columns display names in my list, you can see that these are now identical with the ones that has been generated in SQL Server table columns as well. So there you have it, guys. So if you have any columns with special characters in in their names, then it's best to use this setting for exporting lists and columns in SQL Server using SQL List Manager. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at info@axioworks.com. Thanks for watching. Take care.